I practiced this. I wish it made it sound. Whee! It's our birthday! We're 5 years old. Happy birthday to all of you who are part of the Lace on Race community. This is a big deal. We're 5 years old. And no, I am not going to eat the whole cake while I'm taping. Let me put it aside. You know, it's so funny because as I was getting everything set up, I had a banner that said happy birthday, but it's too big. So we'll make do with the cake and my crown, which I'm going to wear all day, including when I go to Walgreens. This cake is a lot like us. It's not perfect, not by any means. It got jostled a little bit in the car. And so it is not the perfect confection that I had purchased about an hour ago. But you know what? That is absolutely okay. It is an imperfect cake, an imperfect beloved cake for an imperfect beloved community. I do not have the word to tell you just how grateful I am for you all, just how grateful I am to be here on this day. Now, small disclaimer, this is not the exact birthday of Lace on Race. It was actually yesterday, the 21st, but it is the actual day. I started Lace on Race on a Sunday around 10:30 a.m. Pacific, and I spent this 10:30, I was supposed to be Zooming church, but I gave myself a couple of minutes at around 10:30, like I do every year, to think about everything that's happened. And boy, howdy, has a lot happened in the last 5 years. I'm still doing that whole series on getting to know us where I do the introduction, and right now I'm on part 3 of why I chose to found Lace on Race, and it'll be up. But I wanted to take the day and pause and celebrate and savor with a heart of humility and gratitude. Because you better believe me when I tell you that I am grateful. I am grateful. Even during the hard parts, sometimes especially during the hard parts. Count it all joy. Now I want to say something that I think, that I hope you can hear well and take with you. I think that it's important to note that while I'm excited to talk about hitting our 5-year milestone, since I was planning on doing it today, it occurred to me, oh, today's the actual day, while I was sorting laundry. Again, appropriate. I think that sometimes these sorts of things, and there are 4 more of these, by the way, and I'm going to wear them all week. You're going to see me wear them. They're in 4 different colors. They're going to match everything. And you guys are going to get tired of happy birthday, but I won't. But in any case, I would not be celebrating Lace on Race if it was just a question of hanging on by your fingernails, kind of, oh my God, we did it. We made it to 5 years. Sort of, you know, almost by brute force. I don't think that would be anything to celebrate necessarily. I don't think that would deserve a cake. And it does deserve cake. No. When we are talking about celebration rather than brute endurance, we need to think about what exactly it is that we are celebrating. And there's lots of things that we celebrate. There are over I think almost at this point, 200 videos out there for your perusal. There are hundreds upon hundreds of essays. I have spoken to countless people, both individually and in organizations, and I have read and researched till my head is full to bursting every day. But that's not why I'm celebrating. I could celebrate the fact that because of the community of Lace on Race, I was able to quit my job as a clerk, well, a glorified clerk by the time I left, as a clerk for the county, and do what I was called, what I am called to do. That would not have happened without all of your support. That's a big deal, but that's not why I'm celebrating. Even with celebratory, your mouth gets dry. One thing I did forget, I forgot sparkling cider with a pretty glass. I'll do it later. We're going to be doing happy birthday stuff for a while. I could celebrate the accomplishments we've had. They're humbling and gratifying. But that's not why I'm here, y'all. That is not why I began Lace on Race, so that people could clap for me like so many trained seals, and then I get to eat rubber chicken. Now, bear in mind, I am going to eat the chicken. I will eat the chicken. I'm not going to not eat the chicken, but that's not why I'm here. I'm not here because I've been able to talk to bigwigs, says the clerk, and say things that have been on my mind and on my heart for over 30, sometimes 40 years. Like I'm going to do next month at Pastors and Leaders in Indiana. I'll be Zooming here in San Diego. Don't worry, I'm not getting on a plane. But I get to not just talk about Hesed Heart, but I also get to talk about things that I have wanted to see and things that I wish I saw less of. And I've been thinking this since the late 80s, early 90s. And I'm going to get a chance to talk to the people who can actually make change happen with the will and with the encouragement. At Lace on Race, we say that we teach teachers, we mentor mentors, we lead leaders. And that is as true as it ever has been. We also have to talk about the elephant in the room and the fact that, yes, here we are, happy birthday, but it's been a hard 2 years. We're not alone in that. I did some quick and dirty research for Money Mondays, which is what we're going to start doing. And the average length of time for a nascent nonprofit, depending on who you read and what studies you cite, is anywhere between 2 and 5 years. The fact that we have made it to 5 portends well for our longevity. That by itself isn't a reason to keep going. But we are an anomaly, and we are grateful for that. I took a look at what it took to be a successful and sustaining and sustainable nonprofit, and we're hitting most of those markers, and we're on track to hit them all. That is exciting. So exciting, in fact, and we believe in our model of governance in terms of our bylaws and also how we do workspace in a virtual workspace. Remember, only one of the people who works with me in Lace on Race is in San Diego. Hopefully that's going to change soon. Looking at both of you, you know who you are. Hopefully that's going to change, but being able to create a healthy environment and milieu for a group of people who do incredible work, just incredible work. I was thinking about this just this morning because I do want to get to the heart of this video and we can talk about other things. But the reason I've got this going on. And the reason I am wearing my official Lace on Race orange slice dress, I think the last time I wore this dress was last anniversary, in all honesty. I love it so much and I don't want to mess it up. Is a thank you. A thank you. First and foremost, a thank you to all of you who have stuck around these last 5 years in general and these last 2 years in particular. It wasn't an easy road. And those of you who have chosen to stick around, those of you who have chosen to allow me to speak to you in ways that matter, that have allowed me to walk with you, I thank you. For those of you who have been faithful supporters and sustainers over these last 2 years, in particular, these last 5 years in general, again, thank you. There's no way that I could do this without you. We would not be singing happy birthday without you. That's just true. In a nonprofit like ours, where we are not making sandwiches and handing them out on the corner of Massachusetts and University, worthy though that task is, where we're dealing in ideas, where we're dealing in internal change, it's not as though I have a lot to sell to you, except me. Every time, and believe me, I am acutely aware of this. Every time you click through and read what I write, every time you click through and look at my mug as I flap my jaws, it's a gift. And for those of you who make it possible for me to continue to do this, it's a double gift. And the triple gift is this. When you click through, when you listen, when you watch, and then you take it outside. For those of you who mix it up in the comments section. And yes, there are going to be some changes in how we do comments and responses here at the Takeout Window, which is what we call the Facebook page, and on the Lace on Race website. Both the blog, where basically it's just me throwing up essays, and also in the Lace on Race community that we call the Cafe. There will be some changes made. But the fact of the matter is that it's your engagement that makes for the best experience. And not just in terms of, oh, it's fun, but the best experience in terms of, oh, I have something to contribute. There's something that someone had to say that I felt compelled to say. So I thank you. I thank each and every one of you. The ones that cheer me on, the ones who look on neutrally, and even the ones who have been less than kind. These last 2 years have been some of the most introspective and self-reflective that I have ever gone through. And I am counting my mother's death. I'm counting having to put my ex-husband, having to walk with my ex-husband as he went through his challenges, as I was assaulted, not once, but twice. This has been both the most productive 2 years of my life and, without question, the hardest. Sometimes it's been difficult to raise my head. But then I remember why I do what I do. Why I was called to do this. Now, 5 years ago, in 2018, I was not sitting here in the Center for Racial Equity. I was sitting at my dining room table in my robe. And that was the day that I clicked. Create page. And I thought, I really did, I thought that it was just going to be me making little random musings. At the time, I wasn't making videos. I didn't start making videos until 2020. That it was just going to be me doing this and maybe talking to people, but basically just doing a dump of what was in my head. And then 2020, the Black Spring happened and we exploded a little bit. And Then 2021 happened, and I had to figure out who I was. Let me tell you something. In terms of both the organization and myself personally, there is nothing like being told that your organization is bad or invalid. Thanks to all of you who said that, because let me tell you, all that did is make me and my team dive deep to make sure that we were best practice across the board. And we are. What it did for me is it made me question and challenge everything, even as I was dealing with my mother's eventual death last year. There's nothing like someone calling you a charlatan. To take a look at who you are in terms of your congruence and in terms of your authenticity. There is nothing like being told that you're a cult leader, to take a deep dive into your faith formation and character formation. I realize, because I've talked about this and those people have said, we don't trust your character formation. 5 years later, you know what? I kind of don't care. The community that I've bet the farm on, and the universe, and the God, and call it whatever you want, universe, God, Ralph. As long as the end of the day when I'm doing my inventory, and I hear a still small voice that says, well done, good and faithful servant, party on. Okay, I added the party on part. But as long as I've got that going, hey, there's nothing like being told your worst fears about yourself. Fears so deep that led to a conviction so strong that basically I've spent the last 40 years, my entire adult life, doing my best to be the opposite of the woman that I have been painted to be by some. That's a big deal. It's the same thing with this organization. I hope that the lessons that we have collectively learned during these last 2 years have sunk in with some of you. What it means to be imperfectly faithful, what it means to be imperfectly congruent, what it means to be imperfectly modeling a way of life and a way of being that hopefully resonates with some of you. It doesn't have to be all. I hesitate to say the downsides of that Black Spring when we got all of these people, most of whose faces we never ever saw, though for some reason they stick around, I don't know, is that it was really easy to get a really big head, too big to fit in the Santa Fe. So in a way, in a perverse kind of way, to the extent that my head did achieve some sort of swelling. I don't think of it as an achievement so much as a malady. So much as that's been true, that's a blessing. Because everyone's a teacher. Even the people who spit on you are teachers. That needs to be remembered by each and every one of us. The people who say wonderful things are nice, and thank you. The people who are neutral, who want to see what I'm made of, thank you too. It forces me not to just go for the optics, because I think people can see through the optics. And thank you for those who have been less than kind. These last 2 years have been the strongest and the deepest formation that I have ever had. It's hit every base, spiritual, emotional, intellectual. It has strengthened my faith, even as I have been in the depths of a depression I didn't know was possible. And again, y'all know my history. I hope that it has made me more savvy, but not more cynical. More discerning, but not jaded. And if I give you nothing else, if I've given you nothing else in the last 5 years, it is threading that very fine needle to be soft as doves, but wise as wolves. But to never use your wisdom, never use your learning, never use your position as a weapon. If I have done that for even one of you, I've done my job. It's past the time I said I'd be talking. I said I was going to stop at 20 minutes. Obviously, I lied. But here's the main reason, because there's more of these. There's more of these here. And I wish that every single person on my staff, leadership team, and board could be sitting here with me at this flat and round table, because there would be no Lace on Race without them. Every single one of them. You know, it's easy to lead when things are easy. When people are engaging and there's contributions flowing in, and it's like, oh, we don't know what to do. Maybe we'll do 2 community partners. We have so much money. When everyone is telling us how wonderful we are, when we are being put on lists of the best racial justice websites, like what happened in 2020. Some people ask me whether or not I'm sorry that I asked to be taken off of those lists, and the short answer is no, I'm not. I don't want 1 million followers. I don't want 100,000 followers. I don't really, even lovingly to you all, I don't need 10,000 followers in name only. I need a few of you. A few hundred. That's who I can get to know on a deep level and walk with deeply, so that we can affect the world far beyond small numbers. About 5 years ago, maybe a little before then, there was the rector of the cathedral here, the Episcopal Cathedral here in San Diego, and it was a question and answer session, and he was talking about, actually they were talking about church growth, what it looked like, and the big question that has been going on for the last 50 years now, the decline of the church in America, particularly mainline churches, particularly Episcopal churches, and particularly Episcopal churches after the question of whether or not it was going to become an open and affirming denomination. And I remember Dean Richardson saying, because so often, you know, he had one of the biggest churches. He was at the cathedral in San Diego, but it paled in comparison to, you know, 40,000 at the Rock, right? You know, 10,000 at Journey. And he said, I would rather have, forget 500 families. I'd rather have 10 families that were faithful than 5,000 families who were not. And coming from a sort of big church extravaganza and then going to a really dinky little teeny tiny church, I saw his point. I don't want 1 million. But I do want you. And I don't see any dissonance in that statement. Oh, after all that, I keep on digressing. Here's what I want to say. Thank you to the team of staff and leadership who have held me up shoulder to shoulder, who have lifted my head after the 100th time I was called a cult leader, who had my back, literally, literal hands pressed on my back, who reminded me who I was when sometimes it was hard to remember. There would be no 5 years without all of you, just like there would be no 5 years without the greater Lace on Race community. I thank you, period. There's way more to come, but this was on my heart. I am going to cut a slice of birthday cake. I can't light the candles, but if I could, candles. I will eat the birthday cake, not all of it. I will eat the birthday cake, and I will sit here for 20 or so minutes and savor the last 5 years. And then I'm going to take the laptop down from its pedestal where I put it when I'm doing videos, clear more space on the flat and round table, and get back to work. Here's to the next 5 years. I love you all.